It's been a while since we did a guided mandala, and I really wanted to test out my new paint set from Michaels. So let's get started by base coating this homemade stone with black paint and then Dragonfly Glaze Full Spectrum. We're going to use this new set of paint. It is the Craftsmart MultiSurface Premium Satin. It's not just the normal craft paint. You can see the sparkles on the background here from the Dragonfly Glaze. And then we're going to start out with mistakes. My first round had a bunch of uneven dots, so a way you can clear these kinds of mistakes is to take a damp Q-tip and just kind of swirl the Q-tip around and remove the dots. So we're starting off on now that we're restarting, I'm going to take my number 16 dotting tool and make the center dot, and then I'm going to take the number 1 dotting tool and make very small dots, nice and evenly as I can, around the red dot. I usually up my dotting tools in even or odd numbers, so I'll usually start with 2 and then do 4 on the next row and 6 on the next row. But because there's so many paints and I wanted to try and incorporate all of the paints into the one stone, I'm actually only going to go up by 1 number every time. So we started with 1, the orange is coming in on number 2, the yellow's coming in on number 3. Now the idea with your mandala dots is that the next row, each dot should be fitting in between 2 dots from the previous row. So they're kind of not lined up exactly. So it's kind of like you twist a dial a little bit and you want each of those to kind of sit between the 2 dots from the previous row. You're also going to notice, please look closely at this, my dots are not perfect. There are a lot of uneven placement in this mandala, and I want you to notice it because I think when you look at the end product, you probably don't notice it. So it's kind of my little encouragement to you with this video is that there's a lot of, imperfection in it, but when you look at the whole finished product, you don't see them. So don't let that stop you. I know dotting is intimidating for a lot of you. And if mandalas aren't your thing because the pattern is what's intimidating and you get frustrated with how they lay down, try the dizzy dots that are random dots, because then you can be free with it. So using these paints on this mandala has further solidified that I like this brand of paint. Maybe not the brand, but the type, the leveled up premium satin type. I don't love the Craftsmart regular brand because it's not thick, it doesn't give good coverage, it's cheap. I would rather use the Walmart cheap brand, the Apple Barrel. I think it's a better paint. But this stuff, I first discovered the pink that you see in that last row, and it struck me as a neon color, which is cool because neon colors are always tricky to get good coverage with. And I would say about half of this set would go well with any kind of neon type of design. And then on top of that, one of the things that happens when you're doing dots is you can get that kind of pooling of paint. Like you can see it here, there's kind of a dot in the dot, and sometimes with the multi-surface paint you have to swirl that out because it doesn't settle on its own. And what I found with this paint is that by the time I went around and was doing another row, those little dots were settling in, which is great, and the coverage is good. I have done mandalas with regular Craftsmart paint and it doesn't have great coverage across the entire dot. So I am impressed with this paint. Now I want to fill a little bit of the black space that's there. So I'm going to start with that teal row and bloom that color out a bit by finding a dotting tool that will fit between the lavender dots and bringing that teal in, and then taking the lavender row and putting that with a smaller dot with the pink row and just kind of filling in the black space. So this is a very, very simple design. I think mandalas can be very intimidating because people can do amazing things with them and swirls and, just all kinds of designs. This is really simple. It's circles and then kind of filling in the space with tools that will fit. So if you're new to it, give it a try. I did try and spice up the outer edge a little bit by taking a dotting tool, a nail dotting tool, and making little pink hearts. I kind of wanted to draw that pink color back out to finish it out. So you just take a dot and drag it kind of at a slight angle, and then take a dot and drag it at the opposite angle, and you can make little hearts. So that's kind of how I finished the edge of this. But being that it's been a minute since a mandala and a minute since some sparkle, I'm taking some hologram glitter paint and I'm gonna beef it up a little bit more. So taking a small dotting tool and adding it to the smallest dots in the circle, and so they're basically just becoming top dots at this point that are covering the whole dot. But as I get to the larger dots, as we come outward to the bigger dots, I'm making my glitter dot towards the innermost part of the circle. So you can kind of see it doesn't cover the entire part of the green. It's a smaller dot that just gives kind of an accent, and it gives great sparkle. And the other cool thing that I kind of like about this is when it's dry and it's resined is it has a texture to it. And my mom was telling me the other day that her friend likes to just hold them when she's watching TV and rub her finger over it or her thumb over it, and it's kind of relaxing. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. It's kind of a cool thing if you like textures. And then a sort of sad, funny story that goes with this rock is I did it in 2 parts. I started it on Super Bowl Sunday and got all of the colors. All of the colored dots were down by Super Bowl Sunday, and then I came back to it later in the week, and I had a couple of days at work this week that were just, not great days. And rock painting always is kind of like this escape for me. If I had a crummy day and I can get everything done, my chores, get the kids to bed and paint, it helps me go to bed on a good note. So I went to bed on a great note, got all the sparkle. I was excited to let it dry overnight and see how it looked in the morning. And when I got up the next morning, I realized that I left the hologram glitter paint top off. So it all got hard overnight, which is okay because it's almost empty and I have another one. But look how it made this thing pop. I love these paints. I love dotting. It's relaxing. I hope you give it a try too. Thanks so much for stopping by to watch. Take care, and I'll see you next time.